I'm very happy and honored to have one of the biggest voices in rock on the phone for a melodic.net interview, Mr. Klaus Meine from Scorpions. Hi, Klaus. How are you?
Very good. Thanks, Arie. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. With the holiday season right at the doorstep and with the pandemic still going on, do you have anything planned personally for Christmas this year?
Well, no, actually, we've been working in the studio pretty much now into December, and
Hmm.
for Christmas, uh, I'm with the family, and it's like everybody else, in this upcoming lockdown.
Hmm.
Uh, we take it easy, and the family is moving close together, and hoping we all get together through this pandemic times. And yeah, it's a serious thing, and yeah, we're looking forward to Christmas, but this Christmas will be very different from the Christmas we used to know.
Indeed, it's the same here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Um, what song from Scorpions or any other artist would describe your mood at this very moment?
Hmm. It's probably something like Lana Del Rey, like Summertime's Blues or something.
Yeah, that's a good one.
A little like melancholic melancholic is the right word.
Yes,
Song,
yes,
I think we perfectly hit the vibe.
yes.
Uh,
And
and
and a song like Patience, maybe.
like Patience, yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think
Your
a wind
voice
of
is
change
still
would
very
be welcome
strong.
as well, right?
Hmm?
I think a wind of change would be welcome as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Your voice is still very strong. How do you keep it in shape?
Well, right now, it's basically when we're on the road, I do my exercises, and also right now being in the studio and singing every other day, recording, and I do my warm ups and my vocal exercises, and so far it got me through this pandemic times pretty good, and we spent a lot of time this year working on songwriting and working on new songs in the studio, and when we made the decision to make a new album, it's such a challenge after all these years. From many perspectives, it's like you say, like the voice, how you keep your voice going on this level. It's a challenge for the songwriting and for the whole process. And so far, uh, I must say I'm very happy, especially that my voice is when I need it, like just the other day in the studio where it comes to a song which is really like with these high pitched vocals, and you want to hit the tones like you get there very easy. This is what you try to do, and when that works out fine, I drive home every night going, yeah, what a great day, and I enjoyed myself so much singing a new song, recording a new song, and knowing my voice is there. I mean, we're all getting older,
Mhm.
uh, but it looks like right now my voice is still in a very good place, and that makes me feel really good.
We're not getting older, Klaus. We're getting vintage.
Yeah, you know, but it's really like it's quite a challenge after all these years,
Mhm.
and it comes down to once you make this decision, and we made the decision for to make a new album last year, early in 2019,
Yes.
and it was like, okay, but if we do it, then you want to do it right. So in a way, we were lucky that we planned for 2020 to go into the studio, and except for uh, a residency in Las Vegas in July, there were no other shows planned for 2020 because we said if we want to make a record, we after all these years of touring like crazy all over the world, we have to take some time out and uh, go into the studio and make a new album in 2020. And in that way, we were lucky. And I tell you, I mean, in this strange times we all go through, it's such a privilege when you can work, when you can take a deep dive in your own creativity, and come up with hopefully something brilliant.
Of
You
course.
never know, but it feels really good. And we started last year writing, and we stopped around June last year when we picked up the tour, and we were touring last year, like we did like Rock in Rio in November and played South America, and
Hmm.
earlier this year went to Australia and Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that was
And
that
so
was quite something.
it was quite something, and it was a lot of hard work, but also a lot of fun. And still, after all these years, we enjoy very much to be on the road and to play for our fans. But we knew also after, I mean, at least the last 10 years, we were playing year after year, really non-stop, between 50 and 70, 80 shows every year. And we knew uh, this was now the time to write new songs and make a new record, and then hopefully go back out on the road again with a new production and with a freshed up set list, And so it was a good plan. But I guess for so many young bands this year, they maybe just released their very first album and they wanted to go out on the road this summer, play festivals, and
Hmm.
then this is it's such a mess, and
It's a struggle.
what a tragedy for young artists who also need the income,
Of course.
of touring. Also, like the crews, especially the crews. Our crew, like since March, we played the last show in Singapore at the 5th of March, and since then, they have no work, and there are a couple of charities going on right now where we try to support our crews and help them through these very hard times.
That's cool. Um, you guys were, as you said, you were touring, also the Australian Asian tour, and that was quite a difficult struggle because you had a surgery, and on top of that, COVID broke loose in Asia.
Yeah.
How do you look back at this, and was it difficult to get the personnel and the band back home safely?
Say the last part again. Was it
Was it
difficult
difficult
to?
to get the band and all personnel, the crew, back home safely?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty difficult. I mean, the way 2020 kicked off was pretty shaking, like when we played Melbourne, and I realized there was something wrong, and turned out I had what is it called in English?
A
Like
kidney stone.
yeah, a kidney stone, and had to go straight into the hospital in Melbourne, and the band moved on to Sydney, and they were there in a waiting position, and fortunately they moved the Sydney gig for a couple of days later. Unfortunately, we had to cancel one or two shows uh, down there in New Zealand and Brisbane, So, but we played Sydney after my surgery a couple of days later, and moved on to Southeast Asia, where Corona was already like, yeah, a big deal. You could see everybody was wearing a mask at the airport, and they were everywhere. Airports, checking at the hotel, they were everywhere. Temperature checks, and but still, we played the Singapore show, and they were very much in control of the situation. The promoter, they did a great job, but then the last gig of that uh, run of gigs down there was supposed to be in Manila, and that was cancelled. So we went home after Singapore, and then 1 or 2 weeks later, it became more and more dramatically over here in Germany as well.
Hmm. Okay. recently, Wind of Change had its 30th anniversary,
Hmm.
and you released a box set with which included a real piece of the Berlin Wall.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to bring up the CIA who wrote the song again, but instead, I'd like to ask you, how did you
Yeah.
come up with these lyrics, and what did the other guys in the band think about it back in time?
I think when they heard the demo for the first time, I think they liked the song, and I think they liked the lyrics, uh, but they were not so sure about the whistle part, of course, And I mean, I was when I recorded my first demo in I think September '89, just when we came back from the Moscow Music Peace Festival. I was just it was just like a throwaway kind of thing, to sing about like I walking down or follow the Moskva down to Gorky Park. It was to me it was something like just a throwaway kind of thing, to whistle and not to make like a big deal guitar whatever intro, and never thinking about this could be such a big thing, like that it could be such an iconic part of the song. It was just I was inspired by like when you think about like songs like John Lennon, Jealous Guy, for example. There's also like a really great whistle at the end of the song, and I think to me this was kind of the same kind of vibe, and but then it turned out that well, for hard and heavy for a hard rock band, this is an element. This is quite different. And it was not only the band in the very beginning, but also later on the record company, and they were not sure when they said, okay, we want to release a single, even though when the song was a big hit all over Europe already, and in the US they wanted to release the song as a single as well. They called me and said, Klaus, this will be the next single here in the US, but we have to take out the whistle. And I said, no, come on, you guys, you take it or leave it. And later on, I met this guy, Jim Lewis, from Mercury Records in New
Yes.
York, and on the road we met this guy. And when the song became also a smash in the US and went to the top 5 in the Billboard charts, and when we met with the A&R guy, and he was standing in front of me, bending over, saying, Klaus, like in the best Spinal Tap tradition, Klaus, you can kick my ass.
Okay.
I was
Um,
wrong. I was wrong. Kick my ass.
but
Huh?
yeah, and indeed. How do you look back at that time when Russia was changing and the Berlin Wall was put down? And because it clearly the song lyrically is also a little bit political driven.
Yeah, it's political. But my attention was not to write a political song, and since we were never like really like a political band,
No.
but because uh, because we grew up like in post-war Germany, and when we went to Leningrad in '88, and 1 year later to Moscow, we felt, even though we felt very much like being part of the international rock family, especially with all the success we enjoyed throughout the '80s in America and everywhere in the world. But when we went to the Soviet Union, we felt very much like being a German band, and we were blown away uh, uh, the way they welcomed us, really like the Russian fans with open arms. It was an amazing experience, and more it was much more emotional for the Scorpions than for Bon Jovi or Ozzy Osbourne, Skid Row, all the bands who played at the Moscow Music Peace Festival together with us.
Mhm.
It was much more emotional for us because of history, because of uh, when Germany was in war with the rest of the world, and
Yes.
to play in Russia, it was so different, and to see how much the fans loved the music, and they even in '88 they knew our music, so it was a huge black market and diehard fans, they went for hours on a train to meet with somebody to copy cassettes from the West, things like that. Or even in Romania, they told us young fans who listened to Scorpions or to Western rock music, they were thrown into jail for listening to Western culture,
Yeah.
And
Unbelievable.
so it was such a very, very special time. And after all the success we enjoyed throughout the Western world, this was such a big step for us behind the Iron Curtain in '88 and '89. Not knowing the Berlin Wall would come down just a couple of months later,
Yeah.
but the vibe, and in Moscow in '89, in the summer of '89, in August '89, you could feel there was a change in the air. So many young kids came to me saying, Klaus, the Cold War will be over soon, because he is a young generation, and in the Kremlin there's a guy, his name is Mikhail Gorbachev,
Yes.
And so we had a feeling when we saw thousands and thousands of Russian kids going crazy, and also the authorities, like the Red Army soldiers, front of the stage, throwing their caps in the air, and they became one with the audience and celebrating Western rock music, and we could see the world was changing in front of our eyes. And this was such a deep, deep inspiration. And I was not thinking about writing a political song, I was just writing about what we just went through, what we saw. And we were right in the middle. We were part of those changes.
A song from the heart.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. And there must be a reason this song became what it is, like an iconic song that stands for a very historical moment in time. This is something you cannot plan. I mean, you write a song, you can hope this hopefully makes some waves out there. Maybe it becomes a hit. Maybe you get some great airplay.
Yes,
but
indeed.
but this is way, way, way beyond your imagination, and it's a wonderful thing that it means so much for even after all these years, for so many people all over the world.
True. After Wind of Change, the band has written some other songs which are socially involved, like Under the Same Sun and recently Sign of Hope as well.
Hmm.
How important is it for Scorpions to address certain topics like this in the lyrics?
Well, I don't know how important it is for the Scorpions, but I know it's important for me,
Hmm.
because whether it was Wind of Change or Sign of Hope, there is a connection. I know what your question is all about, how much it means, to be connected with the people and to reflect what's going on in the world. So
Exactly.
I'm still. I mean, I guess I am a political. I'm very interested in politics, and I follow it. And who doesn't? And in times like the Brexit or what's going on in the U.S. with the elections,
Hmm.
and of course I follow this closely, but I'm still not a political songwriter, But then, when you come back from the tour, and like in March, when we saw so many young artists, really like kids, sitting there in front of a camera to do those home concerts, just to do something, to keep the crews in work, and to connect with their fans. And
Yeah.
this inspired me to come up with something which where we can put something out, like on our Facebook channels, our social networks, like Sign of Hope, to send the Sign of Hope to our fans and beyond, of course, And this was the intention, and not so much to write a new single for the next album. It was just a straight way, and like talking to your your fan community. And the wonderful thing is, when Sign of Hope came out on Facebook and Instagram, all those social medias, we got a feedback from Russia, where our Russian fans, they sang the song, and like many fans, they just passed on the microphone or a fan scarf or whatever it was, and made a nice video of it.
I've seen
And this
this.
was such a nice feedback that inspired me again to say, okay, what about the rest of the world? Come on, send us your images, your pictures, your favorite shots, your signs of hope. And so far, I think they did. And there were so many pictures coming in from all over the world. And right now, before Christmas, we will release the third fan video of Sign of Hope, where so many fans out there wanted to see their own picture being part of the Sign of Hope video. And
Beautiful.
it's a wonderful give and take kind of thing, which works so well, but so far away from like the normal business kind of thing where you put out a single, put it on the radio or whatever it is. This went on a totally different way, just to send out, like you said, like something straight from the heart in troubled times.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Staying connected with the fans is beautiful.
Yeah,
And
and I mean, I think, to come back to your question, I think this is something, it's important, and at the end of the day, it's important for the Scorpions as well, because but it's just like a song like this. Again, I was writing this song, it was not the band, so I come up with it and I present it to the guys, and of course they can see the also the very positive effect and the feedback from fans around the world, because they understand the message. And that's the same with Wind of Change, I guess. And even after all these years, people understand, and especially today, how much we need some hope, how we need some positive outlook into the future. And this was exactly like 30 years ago. It was a positive outlook after the Cold War, after years of the Berlin Wall, people getting shot, getting killed when they tried to move from East Berlin to West Berlin, and where it was today, when you look back, it's like, it's such a different world after September 11th again, the world changed so much. And 30 years later, we need so much hope again, that things will hopefully, for the next generation or generations to follow, will turn out to be a more peaceful world, and like the elections in America right now, I think all of us in the Western world at least have a feeling with new President-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that we hopefully go back into the better future again,
yes, I agree.
But I'm
Let's
not a
get back to
politician, I'm not a politician.
No.
And
I know
but
we,
I mean, in these times, it's all in a way, whether it's like you're on the humanitarian road, or you call it politics, whatever it is, but you cannot close your eyes. And especially being an artist, you just try to reflect what's going on. But with the new album, we try to focus on the hard and heavy edge, and we want to make an album that hopefully the hard and heavy community will go, "Ooh, Scorpions, respect." We had no idea you come, even after all these years, you come up with an album like this,
Yeah.
And so it's a challenge, but we go for it and we enjoy it very much.
Yeah, you stated recently that the band is going back in time. It will be more early Scorpions kind of music. What can
Yeah,
you say
that's
about
what
that?
we try. That's what we try. And I mean, a good thing is, and maybe the first step in that direction is to have the whole band in the studio playing together in one room, And like in recent years, this is of course in Pro Tools times, almost digital ways. It's also a lot of different, and of course sometimes and somehow much easier to put things together, but sometimes you lose this kind of thing where when you have a band play together and creates a vibe for the song just in the studio playing like you play live on stage,
The band
Uh,
chemistry.
not exactly the same, but this is like the basic idea, and this is what we try to do. And it's it was not so easy in terms of working with a producer and with Greg Fiedelman, uh, the producer we worked with in the last couple of months.
Hmm.
Uh, since all the travel restrictions, he could not come here. We could not go there. The plan was for us to go in May to Los Angeles to record the album in LA in May, in June, play the 9 shows in Vegas. Actually, they are postponed to next year now.
Okay.
Play the 9 shows in Vegas. Maybe go back in August to LA to finish the recordings. And this was the original plan, But since Corona, we had to find a different way and to work at home, to work in Peppermint Park Studio, which is a studio we recorded like Unbreakable, like years and years ago. And it's a studio we're very close connected with anyway. Whenever we go on the road and we go for rehearsals, we use that studio for a long time. So we feel very much at home there. So the plan B became like a plan A after all, and we had Greg Fiedelman joining us via Zoom every other day, and so we worked through the material and the songs and the pre-production and we take it from there, and it's we don't want to lose too much time, we hope next year the album hopefully will be out whenever it is, in the spring or in the fall.
Hmm.
It really depends on when we can be back on the road again,
Yep.
And but I'm sure we will be finished with the recordings and with the album in spring next year, So we're doing very well over here, and we're very, very motivated, and we hope we can release the album in the spring before the summer. But if not, then it will be a little later, and hopefully we pick up a new world tour again, as long as we stay on our feet and stay healthy, of course.
That's the
You
most
never
important
know
thing
what's around the
anyway.
corner.
Yeah, that's the most important thing anyway.
Yeah,
What is the working title for the album?
there is no working title. There are a few titles circling around, but it's a little too early, to nail it down. And we most of the time when it comes to albums, we wait pretty much until not the last minute, but it's always like title and artwork. It's always
Hmm.
like in the end, it's got God. Everybody comes up with ideas, and we'll see. But
Okay.
the good news is we have many songs, and it will be quite difficult to pick the right ones for the album because and the thing is, the guys are still coming in with still new ideas, and it's like, oh, come on, guys, we have so much stuff now. It's just let's record those tracks, and we're it's all good. Yeah, but here's another great song, let's check this out. But it's a good thing that we're not short on ideas, and the opposite is the truth. It's a lot of stuff, and it feels really good. And with Mickey D in the band, we have a great drummer. It's the
Hmm.
first album we do with Mickey, and he played for Motorhead for
I know.
20 years, and he's such a great live drummer as well. And it's a lot of fun to be with him in the studio, and he's such a powerhouse, And this also it dictates, that yeah, there might be one or two ballads on the album, but believe me, the rest we really focus on the hard and heavy stuff. And like when you said you try to go back to the early days or like back to the 80s, like the to be inspired by those albums. That's true, you know. But at the same time, I mean, it's so many years later. It's not so easy, you know, uh, to make an album like Blackout, you know, and even if you try, you know, it's at the end of the day, it will be an album like Scorpions 2020, 21, you know. There's no matter how hard you try, you know, and but it's a good bottom line to say this is what we try to achieve, you know. But let's see how far we get.
I'm curious. Um, Scorpion is very connected with the fans. You told us also with Signs of Hope. Do you see social media as a blessing at the moment?
Yeah, to me it is, you know. Uh, Fortunately, we didn't went to through too many shitstorms all over the years. It's great to have a fan base from uh, 7.45 million people, and on Instagram also over a million or something. Uh, was just there was some poll about the most played bands, hard and heavy bands. Was it on Spotify or I don't know? Or the Metal Hammer put it out, and we were like uh, with I don't know how many millions, but we were in the third place out of 60, one of 160 bands or something, you know.
Awesome.
And after Linkin Park, Kiss, Scorpions, not too bad.
No, really,
After
that's not
all
bad
these
at all.
years, you know, no bad at all. And so social medias, yeah, I like it. I mean, I just checked on the Spotify for artists. You can see how many plays you got, how many clicks, and which country you have the most clicks on Spotify, you know, and it's very interesting to see. And of course, like a song like Wind of Change with more than 700 million clicks, this is on YouTube. This is kind of crazy, you know.
Absolutely. Um, we are getting towards the end of this interview. Is there anything you would like to share yourself with the fans?
Well, actually, I hope we go back out on the road next year with a new album, with a new show, new songs in the set, and we hope we come back to the Netherlands as well. That would be pretty cool. We had a great time uh, playing in Amsterdam, like on the last tour, and we have a feeling that there are a lot of Scorpions fans, and in the Netherlands, and like going back to Crazy World when we recorded uh, Wind of Change and the Crazy World album, we spent so much time in the Whistle Studios in Hilversum, you know, so we feel very closely connected with the Netherlands, and it's always a joy to come back, and hopefully we see our fans in the Netherlands next year as well.
Okay, that's cool. I've got one other question for you. What is the most funniest thing that ever gone wrong during a Scorpions live show? We had a drummer falling backwards and a singer ripping his pants before. What is your
I
story?
think it was in a show like in Athens in Greece, where people went totally crazy after the last song, and I was in my dressing room before I was going out for the encore, and the I couldn't open the door again because the door knob, you know, broke off or something. So I was in my dressing room, and people were going crazy, screaming for an encore, and the singer was locked in his dressing room, couldn't get out.
That's crazy. um, Klaus, I want to thank you for this interview and your time for melodic.net.
All
We would
right.
like to wish you, your close ones, Scorpions, and all involved a happy and healthy holidays and frohes
Yes, thank you
Weihnachten,
so much. Yeah,
and
Fröhliche
good
Weihnachten.
luck
Same
with
to
the
you,
upcoming
Arie, to
album.
you and your family. and most important thing that we all stay well and healthy, you know. And no, all the best to you also, for you and your family, for Christmas.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Arie. Nice to
Okay,
talk to
bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye bye then. Bye. Bye.